Alrighty, so let's look at another phase C LC-1 trade. Okay, so I think we can all clearly see that the 4-hour chart has shifted bullish, so we can keep our analysis reasonably simple. And without even looking at the M15, we can see that we're starting to play that 4-hour swing pullback with nice risk reward down into demand before potentially the continuation of that swing trend. And what else do we have? We do actually have 4-hour structural confirmation where we get a bearish 4-hour change of character, giving us a nice tidy 4-hour level of supply, right, to look for potential shorts from. So building the narrative on the 4-hour chart is pretty simple, looking for that immediate bearish bias to play the 4-hour swing pullback. And as usual, TradingView likes to not show my zones where they should show on the lower time frames. But anyway, we jump down to the M15. So if I zoom out a little bit for you, I've done some preparation. Okay, and we can see that we shifted bullish here, had a bit of a pullback, and then we are still bullish because this is just an internal pullback. Okay, so in this occasion, I've left my swing low down here. Now, obviously after an M15 boss and a 4-hour boss, what do we expect? We expect swing pullbacks on that time frame. Of course, we can try and get in early and time those pullbacks with phase D trades. But what have we been trying our hardest to push you guys towards? We've been trying to push you towards waiting for phase C before taking those shorts. Okay, so for instance, momentum is strong. We get another bullish IBOS. You could be looking for phase A2 trades in here. We haven't really spoken too much about that. These are really what they can play out. They can occur, especially when the market's trending super well. But a lot of the more times you're going to get burnt trying to take longs in here. Okay, especially when you can recognize that this is often what price action sets up before we get that reversal, because yes, it's an internal pullback with a bullish IBOS, but what is it also likely going to be? Big liquidation of Asia equal highs to then get the bearish IBOS to then get a big powerful swing reversal. So this is why until you're consistent, and even when you are consistent, I would push you away from not worrying about A2 for the most part, because in most occasions it's going to be pretty tricky to trade. We also then get all this messing around if you're trying to trade phase D, because there's a chalk you could try and short within the supply. Look at this. Wait a day or two, whatever it takes, not even a day. Bearish IBOS, nice momentum, clear POI to look to trade from, 4-hour supply and a 4-hour bearish chalk to back it up. It's just like you don't even need to think about your directional bias when you see this, right? These are the types of environments, in general, I try to wait for, where it's so obvious what needs to be done. But particularly if you're going to be considering trading LC1, right? So we've got two POIs here. This one and the extreme. Of course, the extreme is always going to be higher probability because it's well priced, and we can use this as medium time frame lid, right? There's no lid in this leg on this time frame, so very often these are inducing moves that can fail, particularly when this was likely caused by news, right? With that volatility, very often those moves can be retraced. The high gets liquidated, and there we go. So do be wary of that. Let's see if we get any strong liquidations that form in the pullback with the fake break. Right, we're just looking at what forms in the pullback. No high here, breaks a low so far. That high doesn't break a low, and then the POI fails, so that's not too confusing. Surprising would be the word I would use. So now we're coming into this extreme POI. It's a high probable scenario. It's the start of phase C. It's a very tight range. Again, remember that's a key thing. What's the range we're working within? We're working within here. All right, we've got clear medium time frame lid to the left. Obviously, we're going to be able to see that on the lower time frame well within where our entry is forming, right? We're not going to need to zoom out. This is ticking all of the boxes for trading this entry model. The other thing as well, I love this, right? Big swing range. There's no immediate POIs here that I'm concerned about, right? Not really until price comes down towards this region. It's like I view this almost as like a vacuum in price. This is go time to look for these movements to come to the downside. Okay. So get our POI mitigation. We have our clear liquidation of lid to the left. Like all of this lid is valid as well, but right, you don't need to draw them all on. Just draw on the nearest one. Both, they're all valid, okay? And then obviously we've got a POI mitigation. Sell stop below the low. This leaves a 2-pip buffer, so 7.3, okay? You could even go bigger if you wanted, because obviously there's plenty of risk to reward here. Then we get tied into the trades, and there we go. Nice, simple, easy trade. Okay, obviously you guys, you can hold trades for a lot longer if you want, but my recommendation is just use fixed R. Get some wins on the board, get your confidence up with your own ability and the strategy, and then you can start thinking about being a bit more advanced with bigger targets in certain scenarios when you've earned the right to know when and when not to do that. Okay, the main point of this little series of videos, I guess you could call it, is very specific scenarios. Generally, the start of phase A and phase C, momentum's on your side, tight internal range, clear POI. There's only one or two to pick from. There's no significant demand that we're worried about prices coming off. Nice risk reward on the side. These environments do not happen every day or necessarily even week, but when you see this, go time to think about LC-1 and just aggressively almost try and get involved. Like if I took a loss here, I'm not worried. I'm not going to beat myself up. Whereas if I take a loss trying to buy in here or trying to force a phase D short in here, that's when I get annoyed at myself because I wasn't patient enough. Again, not saying you should never trade phase A2, not saying you should never trade phase B, not saying you should never trade phase D. It's just generally, if you can wait for those starts of phase A and phase C, they're the times when you want to be thinking about LC-1. They're the times when you want to be more aggressive in general just to try and get involved. And also, if you trade more than one pair, then you can maybe find it a bit easier to be patient to wait for those certain phases. All right, so just some food for thought.